Hello, beautiful creatives. Welcome to Beginner's Mind, Art Mind. I'm Linda, and if you are new to my channel, welcome. And if you are have been part of the community for a while now, welcome back. I have a stack of art journals in front of me that I've been talking to you about lately. I actually got 0 painting done this week because if you watched my video last week, as you know, I've done a massive overhaul on my website. And I am now offering paintings for sale. And you guys, oh my gosh, you guys blessed me so much. You bought so many paintings in the first couple of days. I did a little video clip, which I'll pop on right after this, of me packing up the first order. I was so excited because pretty much right after I announced it on that video, the paintings started selling like crazy. Okay, I have shipped a couple of paintings out, but these are some plein air studies. This was right down the road from my house. And this is actually the stone wall in our backyard. And those two are going to Julie. And that makes me so happy because I love these little plein air studies. I had never thought of offering these for sale before, but I did put them up on the website, and you guys are loving these little studies. Here's another little study from Henwood Hill, and that was purchased by Luann. And this was purchased by Vanessa, this Laundry on the Line watercolor. This one happened to be mounted because it was in a show, so it's mounted to ragboard. I just decided to leave it on that since it was already mounted. And then somebody, I think it was Julie, had inquired about purchasing this painting, this Ukrainian girl. Sadly, it's in one of my journals and there's work on both sides of the page. So I briefly entertained the thought of cutting it out of my journal, but because there's work on both sides, it's a handmade journal that I made. So I was hesitant to cut a page out. Maybe there's a chance I could make a print of it. But I'm not sure yet with everything else going on if I have time to, it's a bit of work to make one print, to get it color matched and all that stuff. So I'm really, really grateful. Thank you for supporting my art and purchasing my art and confirming for me that my my redesigned website is actually functioning the way that I wanted it to. So I have to go back and optimize it for phone view. So it may not be viewing 100% right on phones right now. I'm not even sure. It's just been so much work getting it worked on the computer and getting items loaded in. I'm just taking it one step at a time. But thank you for your purchases. I'm so glad these little baby studies are going to good homes. I've always thought they are so adorable. And yeah, watercolors and gouache, and sadly, I'm not ready to give up this Ukrainian girl out of my handmade sketchbook, so she's going to stay with me for a while longer. And I only had the watercolor gouache section in at that point. And the paintings on silk section. I didn't even have any acrylics or oils posted yet. So I'm continuing to add on. I actually, so many paintings had sold that last night I was up till midnight loading paintings into the different sections. So there are now some acrylics and oils, and I added a couple of things to the gouache watercolor gallery. So I'll just continue to add things. Thank you so much. When I was editing the site last night, the orders were still coming in, and 3 more paintings sold late last night. And this person has ordered the paintings with mats. So that'll be fun. My husband's going to cut some mounts and mats for those. So I think that's all there is for that. This is a box full of some of the little panels that I listed up until midnight last night. But there's a stack of them, and I'll be listing more. So there's couple of sunflower paintings, a ranunculus, I never know if I'm pronouncing that right, poinsettia, another sunflower painting, holiday bouquet, polka dotted cloth with a bouquet on it. Another bouquet on black check. A little Santa mug. This is a mug actually that Dawn's mother made that I painted with our Christmas tree in the background, and I actually still have mixed feelings about letting this go, so that may pop off. And then this is a sugar shack down the road from us. It's looking kind of dark in the camera, but and that's just a fraction of what I ended up listing last night. This is full of paintings. There's oil. These are all on the website, but I just thought I'd show you some of what I added. A little teapot and a raven. Anyways, that's just a few of the paintings that are now listed on the site that weren't, and hopefully I have a lot to do today, but hopefully I am going to find some time to, oh yeah, and these are, I think these are on now. The watching and waiting doggy in the window. This was actually, these ones are watercolor. This was a bull calf that escaped from the neighbor and came up to our goat pen and was eating the hay out of the goat pen. I thought that was kind of cute. This is a little chippy that was out in the front yard on a log I photographed one day and did a painting of him. So there's all kinds of stuff. There's such a wide variety of painting styles and mediums. There's currently 3 galleries on the website. I'll flip the camera maybe and show that, but there's a watercolor and gouache gallery, there's a paintings on silk with French dyes gallery, and there's a gallery of acrylic and oil paintings. So and then that's in the paintings for sale section. Anyways, I'll flip and give you a little tour. Then when I said that I was possibly going to start the flip throughs this week, I got a couple of messages from you guys that you'd like to see the oldest ones, the old process ones. So I'm going to pick through the pile and see how many I can flip through without the video getting too long. And I realized something. That's actually a good thing to talk about. People always say don't paint over your old paintings. People are really rigid about it. They're like, in your journals, don't paint over your old paintings. You know, you need to see your progress and all that. But when we're talking about emotion journals or intuitive art journals, expressive art journals, those are sometimes different than my journals that I do art, just regular art in, or sketches to try to work something out. So I had a few, and this is actually one of them here. I have a few journals that are, oh gosh, this might have actually been 25 years old. I'm trying to think, maybe even older. And this was an emotion journal way before the internet, way before YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. So this was a journal that I used to work through some really, really tough stuff. And it was traumatic stuff that I was working through. So what I ended up doing was painting over all the pages, because when I did the work, I worked through the trauma that I was going through and processed a lot of those feelings through the paintings that I was creating, but they were not the paintings that were ever meant to be shown to anyone. And I found that when I myself went to work back into the journal, I was traumatized by it. I was being re-traumatized by the images that I had painted. In that case, I feel, for me, that I didn't want to throw out the journal. There was still value in that journal. So what I did was I painted over the pages. So most of the paintings in that journal, the original paintings, have been painted over, and I have absolutely no regrets. As a matter of fact, I think it was absolutely the right thing to do in that case. I think if you're processing trauma and you put it down and you get it on paper, it's fine if those paintings are triggering you to go in and paint over them. And that's what I did, and it's a precious journal to me. Even though all of these paintings are newer, they're still this is still an intuitive journal. It's still a journal where I've worked through emotions and done intuitive work, but it's painted on top of the traumatic work. So I hope you get what I'm saying. I feel like I'm saying it kind of clumsily, but it is absolutely fine to paint over your paintings in your journals if they're triggering, if the paintings are triggering to you. So that's what happened with that journal, because you had asked to see journals from my teenage years. There are a couple here that go way back, so I'll get those out. But so I'm going to do that, and I'll flip the camera around and show you a little bit about the new website, and then we're going to get straight to art journal flip throughs. And I have a feeling some of these old spiral bound ones might be the first ones that we go through. I think that's about it. So let's take a look at my website on the iPad, and then we will get straight to the flip throughs, and I'll see how many I can get into one video. Okay guys, I hope you enjoy the video. Oh yes, please. I have been forgetting to say this in every video that I have made lately. Please, it's so important that if you enjoy the video that you click like, and that you subscribe, and if you'd like to click notifications to get notifications. The clicking the likes really does help support my channel a lot. And lately, even though my numbers of people who are viewing the channel are growing steadily, people are forgetting to click like and they're forgetting to subscribe. So that really deeply affects how much YouTube pushes your video out there. So yeah, so if you could do that, I would really appreciate that. Okay, so when you first land on my website, which the address for my website is crowhousestudio.com, which is pretty easy to remember. When you first land on my website, there are 2 links to galleries. You can actually use this navigation bar up here. If you click it, it menu drops down and it says for sale watercolor painting and watercolor and gouache painting, for sale sink painting, for sale acrylics and oils. And then this is the paintings archive, where all my older archived paintings are. And that's the same down here. This is the paintings currently for sale, and this is the archive. You know, you can feel free to ask if something is available that's in the archive, and it may be. It's, you know, it's fine to ask. It's just this tends to be older paintings, so I haven't really had a chance to sort through all that yet. These are the paintings that I have gotten on that are clearly for sale. So all you do is choose which one you want, if you want to look at the archive or if you want to look at the paintings for sale. So let's say you want to see the paintings for sale. You click on that. And then there's 3 galleries: watercolors and gouache for sale, silk paintings for sale, and acrylics and oils for sale. And if you click on that, it will show you all the watercolor and gouache paintings that are for sale. And it says what they've been selling so fast, I haven't had time to pull them out. So it says sold on the ones that are already sold. I'm just trying to get them packed up and shipped out and get people to email me their addresses so I can invoice them. But and then if you want to see them closer, you can click on the image and it will blow it up, and it has all of the information below with the price and the size. And you can always inquire about having my husband mount and mat them. Sometimes he has time to. For those of you that follow me, you know we have a lot going on right now. So he's kind of super busy and super stressed. But he did agree this week to mount and mat 3 of them. So there's always a chance that he will do it. So then you just click this little X to go back. And then if there are more paintings than fit on one page, it will say there'll be a little link down here that says show more. The next one is the silk paintings gallery. And these are all paintings on silk created with French steam set dyes. And this is actually what I did for a career for many years. And I sold them through galleries, but I painted painted all these paintings, and then I would send them off to galleries, and then they would sell them. And same with this. You can click on it. A blown up image will come up and has the price and everything down there. So that's how that gallery works. Those are the ones that are currently available for sale. And then I finally did add at midnight, up till midnight last night, I added some of the oils and acrylics. And there's so many more to add. And if it's a painting that's put away in a portfolio or something somewhere, this is a really large painting, so I need to get it out and measure it. I can't tell you what the price is, so I just put more info to come. That way at least the image is there, and then when I have a chance to take it out of the portfolio, it's in. I can put more information in. So then on the painting archive, it's really the same thing. Gouache and watercolor. And then down there it says see more images. That means there's so much content that it just goes on to another page. And then acrylic and oil archive. Same with this. There's a lot of content here. Click to see more images, and more images will load. And I have more to put in. This could just be a forever task, getting all these paintings. The only one that's different is the silk painting archive, because there is such a large body of work in the silk paintings, because like I said, that was my career for decades, was selling, creating paintings on silk and silk scarves and selling them through galleries. These are all separate galleries. So there's like winter silk paintings, and you can click on these. I haven't really done anything to this gallery. This was already an existing part of my website. And then, it's the same thing, the summer gallery with all of that. And the autumn gallery. There's a lot of paintings. And then other is just, these are urban, I'll click it. These are urban and jazz paintings that I did. A couple of still lifes. And again, you can click on all of those images. And then this one is a little different because this has a photo essay of the process. Like I used to get a lot of custom orders to paint people's houses on silk. So this sort of shows the process of the customer would send me a picture of their house. I would do the drawing on paper. Then I would transfer the drawing onto silk by pinning the silk and the paper to the wall. See if I can get this to show larger. You can see I'm drawing on the silk itself with a water-soluble pencil. And then I'm placing the Gouda onto the silk. And the silk has all been Goudaed, and the Gouda is a resist that keeps the dyes into certain areas. Now, in this picture, I have steamed the silk, so I've set the Gouda. I have steamed the silk for 2 hours at this point, wrapped in paper in a big, long stainless steel steamer. There's the steamer with the paper roll in it. So for 2 hours, and this is mixing my dye colors, the French dyes. And this is layering on the dyes, starting to layer on different layers, and like watercolor, letting a layer dry and then adding another layer. And then rolling up the silk painting. And then, I guess I skipped that. I didn't show, it goes back in the steamer. The steamer's back there. So it goes back in the steamer after the dyes are put on, but it goes in for 3 hours the second time. And then after it comes out of the steamer the second time, it's washed, hand washed, with a little detergent to wash off the surface dye, which makes it look a little dull. And then it's hung on the line to dry. Oops. And then I iron it. And then it's done. It's all shiny and iridescent from the light reflecting off the silk. And it's then we used to frame them and mat them and frame them and send them off to the galleries, or in this case it was a custom order, send them off in to the customer. This is actually an old studio. This is years ago. But anyways, so that gives you a little tutorial of that. And then this just shows my silk scarves. I am not actually currently painting silk scarves. That doesn't mean that I won't ever go back to it, but this just shows what the type of scarves that I painted. But that gives you the idea of how the website is working and what is for sale, or if you just want to browse and look at the archive section. Okay, so I had said that I was probably going to do these silent to music, but since these are really the oldest ones, the oldest sketchbooks that I have in their process books, I may talk through them and I may not. We'll see what happens with that. But I've picked out I'm not going to try to sort them by age. I'll just flip. But this one, I'm pretty sure started in my late teens, and I was not very active in it. So Beauty and the Beast, looks like I never even finished that one. This was a collage I did. Back then I hadn't really found my artistic style, or I hadn't fallen in love with any particular style. This was actually a model that I used for, I was a photographer back then. I was actually studying photography through the New York Institute of Photography, and I lived in Connecticut at the time. I didn't move to Vermont till shortly after this was made. This journal was finished, and that is Danny also. He was a good model. And then just some sketches. This was the donkey's shed. And you'll see I bounced back and forth a lot with just all sorts of different stuff. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. It was a frustrating time for me artistically. I couldn't find my niche. And if I could go back and give my younger self advice about it, I would say just go with the flow. Don't worry about it. Just enjoy the creating. You know, the more you create, the more you'll discover what your style is and what your niche is and what your loves are. Just enjoy the creative process. I would have saved myself a whole lot of frustration that was not necessary. I'll be darned, I never finished this journal. I never realized that. And because it's such an old journal, oh my gosh, that was my teenage bedroom. Ah, that's a riot. It was up in the attic. That is so funny. Yeah, I think because this is such an old sketchbook, I don't think I ever will finish this one because it just wouldn't feel right to put modern paintings in there. These older ones I didn't date. Okay, this is a real old one too. These were pattern. These were lino cuts, that safety cut stuff. This actually was erasers. I can tell by the size. This was a repeat pattern of something I carved into an eraser. This was just trying to figure out scarf designs, silk scarf designs. It's interesting. I don't know why I skipped every other page. More of the little eraser cuts that I made. Each one of these little bars is a cut, and it looks like there were different designs that I alternated. I was doing a lot of that apparently. And then I did end up using these on to make silk scarves. I ended up carving bigger blocks to make silk scarves. You can see some of those scarves on my website. More silk scarf designs. You know, some notes about silk painting. Again, just sketching out ideas, trying to find my style. These are the type of sketchbooks that I would never think of doing a flip through on. Okay, these were some of the drawings for the bigger blocks that I ended up carving out, and they do a repeat. They're drawn so that you can flip them and put them together and do a whole silk scarf with them. These look like more designs that I was thinking of carving, but I don't think I ever carved those two. I did carve those, a positive and a negative, to use when I block printed scarves. Little pen and ink drawing. More pen and ink. Exploring fur. More designs. You can see I drew outside of the box trying to figure out how the repeat would look on those safety cut blocks when I did it on the scarf. More blocks. This was a long block that I did, and I used it for a border on my silk scarves. And this actually really made a nice silk scarf. And then I would use smaller blocks that I carved for the inside. These were extremely laborious scarves to make because you would have to coat the scarf with a starch, and then you would have to coat the dye onto each of the blocks, and then one by one print the whole length of the scarf. And if you dripped any dye during that whole process, you ruined the scarf. Looks like I was doing some Degas inspired ballerinas. Just no idea what that is. Scribble scrabble. This was an idea for a painting that I was working on. It ended up changing dramatically. This is a cute idea though, with the little kid listening. More blocks. Another silk scarf design. Just color notes on how I was going to do that scarf. I was exploring illustrative drawings for a very short time. Well, I guess some of my silk paintings on silk are quite illustrative, but I was thinking of doing a children's book, and I was developing a story at one point. The kid was hiding under his bed going shh to the dog, and the dog wanted to play. And this was the little boy, a little boy sleeping on a bus on his way home from school. And he was sleeping, and then I don't even remember what he saw out the window that surprised him. Oh, I do remember, but I don't know if it's in this sketchbook. This was just a still life of some stuff I had set up, and then some notes. So not a terribly exciting one. This is probably another process one. Oh, this is my husband drew this. Oh, how fun. That's one of my husband's drawings. I can tell his style immediately from mine. That's one of my husband's drawings. Oh, this was when we were building furniture. I was designing furniture and he was building it, and we were selling it at craft shows. This is who knows what. Just sort of an intuitive flow of stuff. It looks like it started with a still life down here and then just sort of morphed into, oh yeah, there's a chair. This was actually, I think, the beginning of an idea for a silk painting. I never ended up doing it. A lot of the drawings that I drew, I never ended up continuing into paintings. Same here, was working out an idea for a painting, never did it. This was an idea for a painting that I never did. I did do silk paintings very similar to these two drawings. But Yeah, I think I actually did do that. I might have done both of these. My silk paintings, I started so many years ago, and the majority of them are sold, so it's hard to remember how many, all the designs that I did. They started out very whimsical, my style. This was a t-shirt that I sewed out of silk and then painted in a kind of wild design. This is another one of those just intuitive flow drawings. Didn't think about where it was going, just added stuff in. That was another one. I did a lot of that back then. Donkey. I grew up with donkeys, so this was a donkey on the couch. I mean, it's imaginary. Our donkey did come in the house once in a while, but he didn't sit on the couch. I should say. This actually did turn into a silk painting. This was an intuitive drawing that I did do on silk. And I don't remember what the symbolism meant on this. But there's an Adam and Eve symbolism. This was the hospital when we lived up in central Vermont. Mother and Blue Boy. Apparently I was going to paint him blue and he's got a halo. She's getting keys from the raven. No idea. Yeah. Oh, somebody's looking in the window. Very interesting. Very interesting. See if I can show that closer. Oh, Coco Pelli kind of stuff. Ah! Looks like it was supposed to be a self-portrait. Doesn't really look like me at all. Oh, this did end up being a painting. Huh. I wonder where that painting is. Because it doesn't look anything like this, really. It morphed into something different, but it morphed into a really large painting. I get it. Yeah, I remember. It was see no evil, speak no evil, and he has this thing in his ears, hear no evil. Like they had no idea what they were doing. Another little portrait. I hope I'm not going to get myself a strike against me with all this nudity in here and these two sketchbooks. I might not be able to monetize this video. Oh, this was a self-portrait. I'll be darned. Many, many, many years ago. This was, this represented a session I had with a shaman while she was drumming. Oh yeah, there we are, too. Susan Grimaldi and me in her office. And there's a raven outside the window. And she's drumming. No idea what this represents. The girl, oh, she's being attacked by sharks. Oh, let's see, she's being attacked by sharks. She got a wound out of her. And then she's rising up out of the water into, it looks like the arms of Mary. Don't know. I had much more active imagination back then than I do now. I think all the years I studied art kind of damaged my intuitive work, my surrealist work, because it stifled my imagination a little bit. Just looks like it's supposed to be a road going through the woods. Some faces. Scribbles. Looks like Mary, maybe. Must have been some idea I had for a painting. Looks like a dream catcher. Looks like I was designing a dream catcher, maybe. Figurative, scribbly kind of mess. Faces, scribbles. That's kind of strange. She looks like she has jaundice. Wonder what that is on there. Looks like it has oil in it. Huh, interesting. Wow, that's pretty creepy. Guess I was studying faces at this point. This was a face that, so this is much later, because this was, I think when I took Kara Bullock's Let's Face It, I think that's maybe what this was from, doing charcoal drawings of faces. So this just jumped from teen years to, oh my God, that is so bad. Oh wow, she's buck teeth. That was before I learned you don't try to draw teeth. Oh Lord, that's funny. Look at those huge eyes. Yikes. She looks kind of like a horror movie doll. Notes about colors. Oh Lord, another one with teeth. Oh Lord. Wow, that's some old stuff. I think I was getting a little better with the eyes expression, but the nose, yeah, the nose and the mouth, oh my God, proximity wise, yeah. You know, that's how you get better though. You just keep drawing, keep drawing, keep drawing. This was water soluble graphite. That's actually kind of interesting. Not sure what that was meant to be, just some sort of scribbly face. Little pen drawing. Oh, this was a painting I did of, this was a painting on silk that I did for a women's full moon group that I belonged to. Came out really pretty with it was a lot of blues and purples, a purpley night sky, and I think it was like a light green moon. It was a fun silk painting to work on. And then just a little house. Don't know. I think it was imaginary. Okay, so that's that. Let's see if we can get through this one. Oh, there was a series of paintings I did based on the movie God Knows Where I Am, the Linda Bishop story. Oh, if you haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend it. God Knows Where I Am. And I did a series of paintings and drawings called, the Apple series. I think that's what I called it. This was one of the Apple series paintings, and sadly I never painted this. I should paint this and add it to the series that I have. This I did paint. It ended up morphing because her reflection is in it, and if at some point I am going to load this painting onto my website in the archive section. If it's not there already, it might be there already. This was another one that didn't get painted, the Apple series. And each one had, each one represented parts of Linda Bishop's story, or at least how I related to Linda's story. This one did get painted. This is a little teeny tiny painting. Oh, a little picture of Mary. That's sweet. More faces. Oh, it looks like I was doing some sort of exercises. Oh yeah, studying proportions for faces. Wish these had years on them, so I knew what year these were. This old guy. I'm pretty sure I traced this one, because I wasn't that good at faces at that point. I think I traced him and then just shaded him in. This was another one from the Apple series that I did paint. I love that painting, and I love that other painting of the woman in the water. Those may be on my site. Oh, I remember drawing this one, practicing eyes. Little sad-faced girl. I don't remember when I drew it. Oh, this was inspired by an artist, and I don't remember his name. I fell in love with his work for a while. It was sort of a phase. This looks like it was blind contour drawings. This was a drawing of, oh, she's a musician. I can't remember. Simmerit, I think is her name. And I wasn't happy with it. I just couldn't, I wasn't getting the proportions of the head turn right. So I kind of gave up on it. Looks like another painting idea that I didn't do. Practicing the figure. More figure. More figure. This looks like it was going to be another story painting. Faces. These are fun. I wonder what these were inspired by. That's fun. Oh yeah, another story painting. Another intuitive work. It's funny, I haven't done this kind of work in forever. There's no hands on the clock. Phases of the moon. Some kind of monster. Interesting. Little bug. I did end up using, this was a study I did for a painting that I did on silk later on. It was a commission. Somebody wanted a painting with a beetle bug in a van, a Volkswagen van, camper van. And I did that. I can actually grab that and show it to you. This is a print of the painting on silk. This is just a print on paper, but the painting on silk was much larger from this, and it was actually stolen from a gallery. So if you ever see this as a painting on silk, it belongs to me. Somebody stole it. Looks like an interior I was thinking of painting, but I never did. And looks like my early attempt at doing some no-tans. Oh yeah, it looks like I was learning about and practicing no-tans at that point. I did paint that. I don't remember. Oh, watercolor. I did that in a watercolor. Ah, I think that's actually for sale on my website. Or it might be sold. I don't remember. An elephant that I started and I didn't like how it was going, so I just gave up on it. Not sure what that is. And that is the end of that sketchbook. Wonder if we have time to do one more. All right, I'll try to flip through this one. Might make the video too long, but we'll see. 2015 to 2021. Yeah, I start these and then I don't finish them, and then I go back much later and try to fill them up. So I was still trying to get the faces, obviously. Oh, this was master copy of, don't remember his name, but I did do, you'll see the painting of this in a later journal. Watercolor of a leaf, which is so interesting to see because this was probably the first watercolor I had done of a leaf, and then this is what I advanced to later on. So progress, practice, progress. You know, just keep practicing. So that is the fun thing about looking back at these. Remember my early faces? They were starting to really improve. That one's kind of ugly. Wow, kind of ugly. Then some watercolor or gouache abstracts. Ah, this is another painting, intuitive story painting that I did, and you will see that later on in one of my other journals. And this one, I don't think I actually ever painted, although I meant to. I did a different version of this, a different version of painting it. This one I never painted. She was supposed to be riding a dolphin holding the moon. Water-soluble graphite portrait, self-portrait. Who knows? Who knows? She's kind of fun, kind of goofy. And trying to learn how to use watercolor in the beginning. Ah, these were from Anne with an E. Remember, did you see that series? I think it was on Netflix or Hulu. That was a memory painting. Mom weeding the walk with a butter knife. She used to sit out there like that on the slate walk in front of the house and weed it with a butter knife. And this was weeding the walk, my mom again. It's kind of fun. And this was my mom shucking peas from the garden and the cat. This was a series of paintings that I was going to do in an illustrative style. And I just never, by the time I finished doing the drawings, I just lost my desire to do it. It's my mom and my stepfather reading their Bibles, Bible study. Just says notes about how I was going to paint this, and I never did paint that. This was an early memory of me finding my mom on the stairs crying. My dad committed suicide when I was 9, and she really struggled after that, but she never wanted us kids to see her crying, so she would hide on these stairs went up into her bedroom, and there was a door at the bottom of them, so she would hide on the stairs and cry. And this was one of my bedrooms when I was a little girl. It was an unheated, very tiny room, but there were lilacs outside the window. That's cute that I wrote that. Again, trying to learn watercolor. Really overcooked face with watercolor. Really struggled with that in the beginning with watercolor. That's quite pretty, actually. Very light and letting the watercolor be watercolor. That's very nice. In the beginning, I was really heavy-handed with watercolor. More silk scarf, and these are blocks that I wanted to cut with safety cuts. More faces. These both had reference photos. More faces. This was a painting. I ended up doing this as a painting on silk. More notes on drawing faces, studying, trying to figure it out. Looks like notes on how to hold the pencil when you're drawing. I guess I was really determined to learn it. More abstracts. These are quite nice. I actually really like these thumbnails. Very nice. Good work, Linda. Not liking it so much when I added the color, but I do love the black and whites. What a mess. See, I was very heavy-handed with the watercolor. And this was horrible paper to watercolor on. It's got very pilly. I was having a hard time in the beginning understanding being loose with watercolor. This is gouache. This is, oh boy, it's another master study. Was this a Matisse? I don't remember. But another nice, I was getting lighter with the watercolor, starting to get it. Kind of loose, but getting too heavy. This was another painting I was going to do. It was inspired by a Vogue model. I still would love to do that someday. Still trying to figure out the watercolor, mixed media. It's not too bad. This was just an illustrative. That's interesting. Is that watercolor and gouache, or maybe it's... Oh, it's definitely mixed media because I see like some crayon in there, or colored pencil. This isn't too bad. I remember doing this at a beach somewhere. There was the birches sitting there. Again, progressing as I go through these sketchbooks. Kind of heavy-handed on this, but it's a pretty little scene. Abstract with a reflection. I kind of like that. You can see I still didn't quite understand how to use watercolor at this point. Getting better at my portraits, although her still was having trouble with that angle of the jaw. I always kind of had struggled with that. Much better with the nose and the lips. Some sort of abstract, landscapey, urbanscape things. This, I think I did do this in a bigger painting. That's not really supposed to be representative of me, but those are my dogs. Graphite drawing of a barn. Another illustrative, thinking of story paintings. Another story painting. This is actually something I will probably put for sale at some point. This is a large painting that I have somewhere. This video's probably getting too long already, but this is the painting that I did of this sketch in acrylic. My doggies again. My lemon tree. I have a lemon tree. It's not that big though. And then these two were the final paintings of the two of the Apple series paintings that I showed you in the sketchbook. So, you know, the original drawings were very rough and not quite worked out, but it just goes to show you what a beautiful paintings can come from those preliminary sketches. Hot mess. Really wrecked the paper. It pilled all up and ripped. You can see just overdoing it and getting frustrated. It's like the thing you can't do with watercolor. If it's not going good, you can't just put more and more and more on to fix it like you can with acrylics. This was a plein air study in the middle of winter out in my driveway. And this is to 2021, so there's been a huge leap from the beginning of this journal. This, I think this is flash paint. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's flash paint, that flat. It's gouache-like, but not quite like gouache. This is another surreal painting, sort of intuitive surreal painting. More birds, kind of funny characters illustrating, going back and forth between different styles and experimenting with illustration. This is more of that flash. It was flash paint and golden so flat that I was fooling around with, and more illustrative interior paintings. These are really kind of fun. I like those. Kind of fun paintings. And then just a silly portrait. Okay, this video is probably going to be way too long now, but that means we made it through this pile of journals, which is the old ones. These are the oldest ones I have. So there is the sketchbook tour art journal flip through. These are, I think of these more as sketchbooks than art journals, but we did it. We made it through the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 journals. Okay, so we made a good start on the sketchbook flip throughs. I hope it doesn't make the video too long, but these are the oldest sketchbooks that I have that I haven't painted over. I have some older ones, but like I said, I painted over some of the pages. So yeah, there we go. We've finally gotten started on it. I did break my plan of just playing it to music. Looking at the old images just made me feel like talking about some of them. It was kind of a fun process to go through, and got to show you some of the paintings that came out of the preliminary sketches. I don't know why I have such a hard time with that word, you guys. But anyway, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and please do, if you enjoyed it, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, hit notifications if you would like to receive notifications every time I open or every time I upload a video. And those of you that follow me know that we are going through an incredibly stressful time, and I am aware that I have been a bit brain fogged in my last couple of videos, so thank you for forgiving me that. Stress does that to you. It just kind of takes over your brain, but I really do enjoy making these videos for you guys. So that's what I have for you this week, and I will see you in the next video. God bless and have a great week. I hope you really have a wonderful, blessed week this week.